Welcome to Flavor Report, where we are obsessed with everyone's next question. What's this going to taste like? Whether you're at home, a night out in your city, or traveling in a city somewhere in this beautiful world, we are here to help you. My name is Joe Winger. Today's conversation is with Darko Mandich, a food entrepreneur in San Francisco. After spending almost a decade in the European honey industry as a business executive, Darko committed to reimagining the honey industry to become sustainable. Darko immigrated from Europe to California to launch Melody, the world's first plant-based honey brand. Darko is an advocate of saving bees and wild pollinators. And now, Darko, you're sitting here with me now. Looking forward to this conversation. Darko, welcome to Flavor Report. Thank you for joining us today. You're in San Francisco, so I know it's early for you, but I really appreciate your time. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you for having me. Excited to talk today about all things bees, honey, plants, and introduce something delicious to your audience.
I love it. I love it. Uh, Before we start, tell us a little bit about your background and what you're doing before you launch this project.
Um, Before launching my current company and the brand that we have, I was in a different geography. I grew up and spent most of my life in Eastern Europe. And in 2012, I finished my business school, and my first job straight from the business school was, a standard position, which is a management trainee in a big company. But that company was actually a honey company. So before changing the honey industry and introducing a twist to it, I've been part of a food industry, honey industry, worked for many honey companies in Europe before I decided to immigrate to the US.
Outstanding. I guess a basic question, why honey? Was it a personal passion or where did that come from for you?
Honestly, at that time, it was a great opportunity in a very interesting company that had many different divisions, all related to food and agriculture. I think I think it's my grandma's fault that I got into the food industry because I remember when I was a kid, my grandma and my mom and dad, they were running a tiny tavern in the Mediterranean coastline, and seeing people gathered around the food, seeing people running around prepping the food, and also in my family, whenever we would have guests visiting our home, there's always going to be like plenty of food. And I think that was like subliminally inserted in my brain. And um, even though um, even though that I pursued business and entrepreneurship and something that excites me, I think in the background of all of that was food, and I don't mind that because I'm foodie myself.
So what I'm curious about is I feel like in the past months and years, honey has become such a hot topic. Why has honey become so important to us today, right now? Why is it on everyone's mind?
There's so many angles that matter in responding to your question. And since you gave me the liberty of almost unlimited time to talk about it, I'm happy to touch upon different angles that matter here. If you ask consumers, and if you ask consumers in the US, they most prefer sweetener is honey. Why is that? Not only in the US, but also in many other geographies. The reason for that is because people understand that honey has the sugar part of it that gives you a kick, gives you energy, but honey also has a very exciting non-sugary part to it, which makes it a better for you. I would say the best for you sweetener out there that someone can use. Also, there's really there's something about the mythology of honey. There's this Greek goddess of honey. Honey has been presented as a divine product across many religious books in different religious, and also, history is telling so many interesting stories about honey. I think around 200 years ago, uh, they unsealed Egyptian pyramids, got inside, found a bunch of things, and amongst others, there was honey in a pot. And you know what? That honey was edible, and no food in the world would actually stand against that shelf life because of special levels of combinations of sugar, acidity, pH. I'm nerding out, but the thing is, honey is very special. It will never go bad. There's kind of official shelf life to honey, but honey will actually never go bad. And I think if you connect all these things, and consumers looking for better solutions, looking for something that can satisfy them not only on a taste but on a nutritious level, honey became so popular. And I had a chance to witness this across my decade-old career in the US and before that in Europe. And look, I was very excited about honey. I didn't know much about it when I joined that company, but when I started learning about it, I was like, wow, this product is really amazing.
There's a lot of people who are watching who do have a grocery background or an entrepreneurial background. And my understanding is that you had to go out and raise money for this company. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. But I would take a step back and say that um, me and my team, we went out there and we raised the money for a vision. And that vision is the world in which humans and bees thrive. Because learning about how honey is awesome, I also got to learn and participate in the industry of making the honey. And when you join an industry and when you start learning about it, you get to see it from 360. And things that I started learning towards the end of my career in the traditional honey industry is I started to become aware of the practices that are happening, and that those little creatures that are actually making this product for us. So that seeing that was something that really inspired me to think about our
Mhm.
future as humans on this planet. That's very much connected to those lovely creatures, the bees that pollinate our plants, keep our planet and ourselves alive, and seeing how the honey industry, commercial beekeeping practices are literally not empowering that, taking advantage of that important animal. I started thinking, differently. And for
Wow.
me, at that moment, that was kind of an awakening moment when I realized that we love this product, we crave for it. It's over a $10 billion industry. If you walk into a supermarket, you'll find honey everywhere: soda, alcoholic beverages, sauces, standalone product, bars, granolas, honey everywhere. And then there's this creature that's not thriving because we use them to make honey. And then I said, okay, we have to do something about it. There has to be a way to make honey uh, while also empowering 20,000 wild native honeybee, bumblebee species to thrive. And that was the mission that I pitched to investors together with my team. And we raised up to date close to $10 million to reimagine something that has been the same for thousands of years and tell that story to the world.
And we're going to segue to the restaurant in a second. On your t-shirt is the company name. So tell us the name of your company and just one or two sentences about what the company does.
Absolutely. This is Melody, world's first sustainable plant-based honey, made directly from the plants that bees would usually visit in nature without the work of the bees. And Melody is a brand owned by my company, MeliBio. MeliBio was launched in 2020 in Berkeley. We're now in Oakland, California. And the company was started by my co-founder, Dr. Aaron Fowler, and myself. My co-founder is an amazing scientist, but also a passionate home chef and gardener. And we met in San Francisco, 2019, couple of weeks after I landed in the US in pursuit of my American MB dream.
A second ago, you mentioned all the different ways we find honey in a grocery store, etc. Either today, right now, or in the near future, how many of those products is Melody going to be a part of?
5 years from now, most of the honey that you get to see is going to come from Melody. And what gives me confidence to communicate such a bold vision is an amazing team behind all of this. You know, you get to see and speak with one person here as the CEO and co-founder of the company, but there's a whole team of amazing people that come from all kinds of profiles and expertise. We have the smartest people coming of Harvard, Stanford, UC Berkeley, UC Davis, that are really getting very deep into the world of plants, world of bees, world of world of making food, manufacturing, and those people together, we make a team that I like to call the Bee Coalition. And that Bee Coalition extends beyond our company, which is really cool because if you think about Melody, we want to see Melody as a jar, as a ball of honey, but we also extend our invitation to everybody, to all the restaurants, all the CPG companies out there that want to formulate with honey, so that when they reach out to us and start using our honey, we basically invite them to become the part of the kind colony, the Bee Coalition, the team that's actually saving the bees. Because what's really cool about the food industry, compared to any other industry out there, it's not a zero-sum game. It's not we have to win so that General Mills or Kind bars of the world lose, or they have to win so that we lose. No, it's a game of collaboration. It's a playground, and all of us have the same goal in mind, which is protecting the planet and protecting what matters on this planet. What matters on this planet, I think it's nature. We get the nature from the bees and their pollination services. And at the end of the day, that helps us. There's a selfish reason, which is like protecting our life on this planet. So that's who we are. And I'm really excited to say that, 5 years from now, I think this is going to be the most of the industry. And this is an opportunity for all of us to learn from the bees, interact with the plants, and create a product that's delicious, nutritious, that everybody is excited about, and that science of it is as simple as taking the same plants that bees visit and turning them into plant-based honey.
Speaking about Melody and the Bee Coalition, when it comes to MBAs and it comes to finance students and it comes to these really smart people, what do you think it is about Melody and the Bee Coalition? And I'm sorry, what was the kindness term you said? I love that one too.
The kind colony.
The kind colony. What is it about these ideas or the group itself that's attracting these elite students? And I don't want to say elite. When I think of students, sometimes I think of like college aged. Yeah. Maybe everyone mostly is college age. I'm not sure. But what do you think about the coalition and the Melody group that's attracting these elite people? What is it about them, about this idea of this group?
There's a certain level of passion of the goal and the mission that comes through when people get to learn about our company MeliBio or our brand Melody. So when people Google Melody or MeliBio, they get to see materials, in my opinion, that transfer passion. And we invite like passionate people that care about the planet, that have expertise in certain domain, and they want to use that expertise for something greater than just making a product or a service that makes money for a certain company. What I've noticed is that actually what's really cool is 75% or so of our team is female. It really happened that we've attracted amazing women very passionate, the best of the best in their industry. So that's really cool. What's also really cool is that I think almost every person on our team is either second or third generation or immigrant themselves. So there's a lot of backgrounds. People from many different communities are represented in our team. And I think if you start with diversity as a default, I think what you gain for that team and the company is basically turning that team in a melting pot of ideas, of approaches. If you just analyze the food that we eat at work. So a couple of days ago, we had Ethiopian. Before that, we had Vietnamese. Before that, we had burgers. Then we had Italian. Just by looking at what we order for our company lunches as kind of cuisines, you can learn about our curiosity and openness as a team and a company. If you put that all together in a playground that's United States, that's California, the best place in the world to build businesses, I think what you get is a launching pad. And you get, a launching pad of ideas that, are very, those ideas are in a way contagious. People want to be exposed to them. People want to be part of that. And all of that creates a beautiful synergy and sync across the team so that we deliver our mission of, creating those deeply satisfying moments for people while benefiting our planet and creating something that has an impact.
So products either that we can buy today or in the near future. Let's talk about the actual process. How are you creating these products?
The process has to start with the philosophy. I think, when people think about, science and engineering and process, what first comes to their mind is, what's the science? What's the engineering behind that? What's the hard movements that happen in the process of making something? But I would argue that every process, every science starts with a philosophy in the first place. So for us, our philosophy was there's honey made by the bees in the market, the real one, that product quality wise is amazing, but has a baggage, has a negative carry in terms of how it's made. Next to that, there's fake honey. There's basically adulterated honey that's made by people taking fraudulent activities in blending a little bit of real honey and a lot of rice syrup. And usually that's done outside of the US, and some of those people are trying to get that product somehow in the US without, trying not to be caught. The third group of products that we identified before launching our company and brand were vegan honey alternatives. Basically, all kinds of sweeteners catered only for the vegan population. There's, products that call themselves something honey, alternative to honey, made out of tapioca, dates, maple, pure sugar, water, whatever. And these products are, just not honey. That's something that's attempt of trying to impersonate as honey, but it's not honey. But it's a legit product. It's in the market. People can buy it. So for us, what was missing is the fourth group, which is basically the category that we pioneered, trailblazing now and creating, which is honey, the product that has the composition of real honey, that doesn't have any rice syrups, nothing that doesn't belong to honey, but it's not made by the bees, and therefore by default it's vegan and plant-based. So that was the category that we started, and we didn't start it only for vegans. Obviously, vegans are our early adopters. They love what we're doing. I'm vegan myself, but I do understand, and I want this to be an inclusive company and brand, and therefore we launched this for everybody who likes delicious and nutritious foods that by choosing it, you're basically voting for those little creatures to survive on this planet.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
And you asked me about the process. So that's the philosophy, that's the concept, that's the guardrails. So when you start with the guardrails that you want to make honey only from something that in nature has touch with bees and honey, it's kind of very strict. And my co-founder and I and the team, we were studying a lot of different honeys, a lot of different anatomy of the bees, the science behind honey production. Bees land on a flower, they suck up nectar, and there are a couple of things in bees anatomy, like bees saliva, honeybees honey stomach, all these processes happening. So we studied all of that, and we came up with this proprietary process where we interact with the plants. We take different parts of the plants. What's really exciting and cool is if you look into the bee, a bee just lands on top of a flower and they suck something from the plant. What we can do, since we don't have to actually fly and land on a flower, what we can actually do is we can actually take the whole plant, break it into different ingredients, and take parts of the plants that maybe bees don't have access to, like roots. So we take all of that, we take the different ingredients from different plants. We have more than 30 different plants in our product that we launched. And we created this process that is basically mixing all those ingredients in a food facility in a kind of a regular culinary approach, and basically create a product that looks, tastes, and behaves like honey. And I'm going to show it to people right now. This is the
wow.
This is the product from a direct to consumer collaboration we just launched with 3 Michelin star 11 Madison Park in New York City.
11 Madison, that's a huge deal. That is one of New York's most, high level fine dining. How did you start that relationship? How did you get your product in this, I'm going to say, very exclusive restaurant? What was that process like?
Yeah. Thank you for asking that question, because this is an opportunity to really tell, in our opinion, cool story. Maybe because we're biased, but for us, it's a really cool story. It started. The story started at the beginning of 2022. We were busy with our process of making this honey. We're still not having the final product. We're still not having the fully developed process to make this product and bringing it to the market, but we're getting there. And I was really excited with what our team was delivering at that time. And I started thinking, okay, at some point, sometime soon, we're going to have a sample. And who should taste that sample? The reason why this sample was important, because it was a 1 ounce jar, like a very tiny jar. I think we sourced those jars from Amazon. The jars that are usually used for cosmetics, like for those like creams and stuff, it was like a black tiny jar, 1 ounce. And the cost of that sample was, brace yourself, $300,000.
Okay. Yeah, I was not expecting that. Okay.
300K was that jar. And how is it, like, I was thinking, who should open this? Like, who should be the person to taste this? Obviously, after that, we scaled, and our honey right now is not, doesn't cost that much to be produced. But at that moment, it was very special. And I was just thinking, who should be the person who should try this? And in that week, I came across this podcast that was featuring a chef. That chef, his name is Daniel Hume. He's a Swiss chef who was sharing a story that I really resonated with. And the story was that he was leading, one of the most well-known restaurants in the world, 11 Madison, and that COVID kicking in, taught him a lesson about the importance of interaction of food and the world around us, and how, the stories around if the virus came from animal, whatnot, that inspired him to think more about the interaction between, animals and people. And he took this responsibility as a chef to really think about what he wants to do next. So this chef from 11 Madison Park decided to turn his restaurant fully plant-based. This was a very bold move. Some of the finest French cuisine experts were very skeptical about that decision. But what I really cared as a person at that time is that there was someone who took responsibility to reflect on his own role in the food industry. And that immediately connected me with my story of being part of the honey industry before, working with bees, and now taking the responsibility to build the future that's kinder and sustainable. And I really, I'm getting goosebumps right now. I remember that podcast from Chef Daniel Hume. That was really amazing. And I said to myself, we have to get to this person. We have to get to this restaurant. They should be the one to taste that $300,000, 1 ounce of honey made without bees. So I reached out to my investors, I reached out to my network, reached out to my people, and I said, guys, the mission is we have to get to people like that to send them a sample. In that process, I got to learn a lot about like high-end, Michelin star restaurant and how they operate. One of the things that I learned is that there's probably most likely not an email address that you reach out, or you don't just randomly send a sample like that and expect that they're going to open it, understand the story. They get to receive a lot of samples. Lots of people want to, do it. So that's going to be lost. I said, forget about it. I don't like this. This story has to be told. I don't want to just randomly mail the sample. So my co-founder and I, we decided to book a dinner at this restaurant. And that was an endeavor. That was so hard. They just reopened. It was so hard to get, a reservation there. We were able to get a reservation, fly from San Francisco to New York, show up as, regular guests for a dinner. And, we loved the dinner. We loved the food. That was all amazing. And then at some point, we asked if someone from their team would love to talk to us and if they would want to see what we have for them. And that was just the beginning of it. They were very excited. I remember there was a pastry chef there. There was a director of culinary development. They basically quickly assembled a panel of people, fermentation chef, and they wanted to hear what we have to say. And that, for me, that was really amazing. That was a dream come true. A kid growing up in Eastern Europe and thinking about, impact that I want to make in my career. I never thought that I'm going to be having a, company in San Francisco Bay Area, and then I'm going to be pitching to the highest culinary authority of the food industry, to pitch them honey without bees. And that happened, and that was the beginning of the relationship. And they've been following us, our growth. We've been exchanging information around the process. They are very careful around the food that they incorporate. They are a plant-based restaurant, but they don't usually work with kind of mainstream plant-based brands that they don't believe in the level of their quality and stuff. So for us, it was a big honor that they wanted to see what we're after, that they care about this, and that they believe that the quality of this is at the level of premium honeys that they would otherwise source from local bee farms that have the highest quality honey. So it's a dream come true. I think this jar represents the biggest achievement of my 11-year-old career in the food and honey industry. Seeing our company brand next to the brand of the best restaurant in the world, the best plant-based restaurant in the world is really amazing.
That's congratulations. That's what I like is the bold move of just showing up. Obviously, you showed up and you found a way to have that conversation and grow from there. Let's talk about the actual honey for a second. And this might be a silly question. Is the goal to taste just like honey? What's the taste profile like? And what was your goal as far as creating this plant-based honey from a flavor point of view?
So that's an amazing question, and I love that conversation when we kind of pause for a second in terms of thinking about the impact and environment and climate, and just have like a product-focused conversation. There are three aspects of products that people care about. Number one by far is taste. Number two is price, and number three is nutrition. So if we are looking into these three aspects of this product, in terms of the taste, what we're really after is the best tasting honeys that are made by the bees. So basically the taste is to match, exciting, rare honeys that you would find in, parts of Europe, France, Italy, also where I come from, Serbia. It's a country of very high quality acacia honey specifically. Then if we talk about, New Zealand, Australia, that's Manuka honey. So these best honeys in terms of the taste are our inspiration for the taste, and we're matching that. So no compromise there. Just give me any honey lover, any honey connoisseur. When we serve them our honey, I don't want to tell them a story. I want them to taste first, tell us the feedback, then I'll tell them the whole story. Moving to the price, of course, I mentioned a $300,000 1-ounce jar. We were able to scale the process since that time, and right now our honey is accessible to a certain part of consumers. I do recognize today that our honey is cost-wise probably not accessible to all people and all the restaurants, but please bear with us. We're working on that. I come from Eastern Europe. I grew up in poverty, and I really want to make sure that everybody has access to this product at some point, but it will take us some time. So right now it's a premium quality, but it's also a premium price. In terms of the nutrition, we want to do it better than honey coming from the bees. And how can we do that? So there are a couple of things in which I believe that our team delivered a more superior product on the nutrition side. First and foremost, honey made by the bees contains a certain bacteria that's called Clostridium. Because of that bacteria, if you walk into a supermarket and grab a jar of honey, you'll see that there's a warning on the label that says do not feed to babies and infants less than a year or 2 years, depending on what brand or what geography, because that bacteria can harm infants' gut that's developing at that time. With our product, with us making it without the bees, we are free of that. So we're not having that bacteria. The other aspect in which I believe our nutrition is superior is because people talk about allergies and pollen, and some people say, oh, with local honey, you can actually get some of your allergies alleviated. Allergies are very tricky, and for some people, exposure to certain allergen can help them alleviate the allergy. For other people, that can create a mess. So what I'm really proud to say that our product is allergen-free, and that for people with allergies to honey and pollen, this is going to be neutral. So this won't cause their allergies to get activated. It won't alleviate them because this is not a medicine. This is a food product, but it's very important to say that it has this aspect in terms of pollen presence. And finally, in terms of certain compounds that honey has that are considered to be kind of super ingredients or superfoods, we have seen by testing our honey, we have seen that some of these compounds from plants that our honey has, actually there's more of those than what's usually found in some of the honey types made by the bees. So basically, the sugar profile is the same, the calorie content is the same. but the twist is that there's a little bit more of certain powerful active compounds that come from the plants. So taste the same as the best honey. Price, it's premium now, but we want to make sure that in the future it's accessible to people, and nutrition even better than honey coming from the bees.
So forgive my wording, it's enhanced honey. Is enhanced the right word, or is there a better word out there?
I like to call it a plant-based honey, and that category of plant-based honey is already for itself alleviated to the level of being enhanced compared to bee-made honey. And I'm really happy that Melody is starting this category. We're the world's first plant-based honey, and I'm really hoping that people will love it, because when you taste it, there's this is a cool story too. There's one sentence, exactly one same sentence, that we get to hear across 5,000 people that were involved in tasting this before it hit the market. And that sentence goes the same: it's honey. So people taste it, they're amazed with it, and they say, oh my God, it's honey. So there's this one sentence that's really great. I think at some point we'll have to, create a campaign or a tagline or something like that, because people are just amazed. Because, there are certain products that are, plant-based that, have their best heart in a place in terms of the mission and the impact, but are just not delivering on expectations that people have. And we wanted to make sure that people across different categories of nutrition say that this is honey and that they love it. Because if we do that, vegans will automatically be happy, but we're going to have a wider and a wider audience to cater and make happy with this product.
I absolutely agree with you, and that campaign's going to write itself because of such a unique product. Let's take a step back for a second, because right now at this moment, is the honey available at 11 Madison Home? Is it currently available?
Yeah, as we're speaking, honey is currently available within a specialty box. Specialty tea and honey box launched for Mother's Day collection in Earth Month. It's a specially curated box of artisanal teas coming from different parts of the world, honey, and also amazing, delicious shortbread cookies, all plant-based, also made with our honey. So that's available right now as we speak. And sometime very soon, this product as a standalone jar will also be available through 11 Madison Home, which is a brand of 11 Madison Park restaurant. Yeah.
The amount of credibility that your product has being at 11 Madison. So I want to go back to, you're at the restaurant that night. From the night you have dinner there, whether it's 3 steps, 5 steps, 10 steps, what it took to get from, I don't want to say a cold call, but a cold dinner appointment to having them place it at their spot. So if we can just summarize what that journey looked like, and then for you as a business owner, what lessons you learned from them to go through that process.
So from the cold dinner to this jar, what was in the middle was hours and hours, hundreds of hours of conversations. And what I learned as a business owner is that conversations are necessary for trust to be built. If there's a culinary authority awarded with 3 Michelin stars and so many awards, and there's basically a new company, a startup, there's a big disbalance in terms of authority and the brand equity and the image and reputation that it has. And what we wanted to make sure as a team that we had many conversations internally within the team where we said, guys, this is an opportunity for us. This is the marquee partnership, marquee customer for us to get the product out there. Let's prioritize this. When we get an email from them, let's meet. Let's get together. Let's just not respond to an email just all of a sudden, let's think through it. Let's see, when they ask about what is this made, let's go beyond the ingredients list. Let's show them the photos of the plants that we source. Let's tell them a story of where these plants are found. Let's tell them the story of the terroir, because if you think about all these future of food products, all these companies creating the new industries, these companies are led mostly by amazing scientists who know how to make products in a different way. But what's very often forgotten, this culinary story, the story of terroir, the story of, the story of the plants around us. And I think the 11 Medicine Park team was amazed to see on the other side a bunch of experts who are, forward thinking, who understand that we want to advance towards a better process, a better product, but we also don't forget the nature around us. And we are actually doing this for the nature that's around us. So I think that level of thoughtfulness, attention to detail, and our ability to go, an extra mile for them, I think that paid off. So all of that plus lots of patience, because these people take time to move. These are the best culinary minds in the world. They're creative. They're not on a timeline of, oh, let me check in with you. You haven't got back to me since 3 days ago. This is not insurance sales, guys. This is not, this is not a, category manager and retailer where you have to follow up maybe 60, 70 times every week until you get a response. These are the best culinary minds in the world. So you have to give something to them. So I'll give you an example. We did have to follow up because, that's a normal thing. But when we would be following up, I wouldn't be saying, hey, can you get back to us? I would be adding more. Hey, you know what? That plan that we mentioned, here's something more on that plan. Here's the report on the bees. Here's the video that we did. And that was really amazing. Last year in May, there was kind of a mid-step. We pitched them this idea to partner for a World Bee Day, which is May 20th. So for May 20th, 2022, we pitched them idea of organizing an event in 11 Medicine Park and invite like Mayor of New York, invite investors, people from the business community, United Nations Diplomatic Corps, inviting those people to taste Michelin star food made with our product. It's like a specialty menu for them.
That was a really, really smart idea. Good for you. That's a really smart idea.
So basically, I thought, if these guys, want to see what's that bee coalition that we have in mind, let us show them how we can execute. Let us show them how we want to pay them respect. Let's do an event at their place versus any other Michelin star restaurant that wanted to work with us. So basically that was the that was the middle step between the cold dinner, lots of conversation between the World Bee Day collaboration. We did a fantastic video published on our website, and then finally that all resulted with this collaboration.
That's incredible. Congratulations. I'm gonna go from the science world and the business world for a second, back down to just the foodie world. You said much earlier in the conversation that you are a foodie. So just to simplify, to get it back to deliciousness, tell me a little bit about food pairing and tell me about, because you just mentioned foods made with this honey, what are some incredible food pairings that you'd recommend with this honey?
When I like to talk about food, I always like to join food and beverage because, eating and sipping, it's just connected, right?
Of course.
And I'll start with the beverage first. I think this honey is perfect for mocktails and cocktails. It's really amazing how it comes through in various variations of beverages and gives just enough of sweetness that someone is looking in their alcoholic cocktail or non-alcoholic cocktail. We did a couple of, bee's knees additions, with various partners, and that's our favorite. In terms of food, I would split it into savory and sweet applications. Sweet applications are my favorite. I just have a sweet tooth. My favorite dessert ever is baklava. Baklava comes from the part of the world where I come from. It's kind of a Balkan, Turkish, Middle Eastern dessert made with phyllo sheets, lots of nuts, and obviously honey. So for me, one of the first things that we made within the team, and that I actually kindly asked my wife, who's a home chef, to make it for me with our honey, was baklava, because turning vegan, I missed baklavas a lot. Baklavas are amazing. Also, we did an amazing collaboration with a restaurant in San Francisco. For all the folks who are based on the West Coast, there's a upscale plant-based restaurant, Baia, B-A-I-A, Baia in San Francisco. It's an upscale Italian plant-based restaurant, and they created this amazing vegan panna cotta with our honey on top. I invite everybody to Google search, visit this restaurant, because they're going to see a culinary mastery developed by Chef Joshua Yap, who is an amazing, talented chef who started working with Chef Matthew Kenny, who is also a very famous plant-based chef. So we did that in San Francisco. In terms of savory applications, that's something that I'm really excited about, because that opens a whole new world of opportunities. How we can interact stuff like pizza and honey, how can we interact, burgers and honey. Obviously, honey and vinaigrette and olive oil can be used as a dressing for salads. Honey mustard, just name it. Anything that you want to have a little bit of a kind of an energy kick and sweetness, just add a tad of honey, and you'll see what happens there. So try it on your own, and go beyond granola and oatmeal breakfast. That it's kind of a cliche. You can always put some sweetener on top. Just go beyond. I challenge you all. The culinary world is so exciting, and pairing something that we took time to think through as a concept can so surprise us in a good way.
That's beautiful. I love it. You're making me hungry. I think the spectrum of different opportunities, the drinks wise, and both sweet and savory. What did the next few months? What's next for Melody? What are the next steps out there for you?
It's just getting this product into as many restaurants as possible in this country. Food service is a priority. We want to meet people at the place where they eat, which are basically restaurants. People are inquiring about the standalone product. People will be able to get it very soon through 11 Medicine Home, outside of the box that I mentioned. And, looking into these partnerships and just expanding, just working on this ability to get this product to as many people as possible, and just to invite everybody to participate in this, B mission of creating the sustainable future of honey. People will start seeing us in many different places. We're definitely focused on a couple of geographies, which are San Francisco, LA, and New York to start with, and hopefully expanding across the country. It's going to take time. Food endeavors, food projects, food startups take time. This can't happen overnight, and I'm just excited about every tiny step in this journey until Melody becomes the word for honey, at least in the United States.
I love that. That's fun. So one more time, what's the big ask from the audience? We've heard your passion, we've heard the science, we've heard the flavor. You're amazing, ambitious. I mean, just walking into a restaurant like that, I mean, that's a bold move. So congrats that it worked out. So tell us again what's available, and tell us again how to find it, and let us know what our options are to just follow you more and support you.
Yeah, I invite people to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Melody, Mellody Foods, all together. In terms of purchasing this, head to 11medicinehome.com and you can purchase it there. What all of you can do to help saving the bees is learning more about bees, learning more about pollinators, and you can do it through our social media. And finally, if you're equally passionate about bees and plant as we are, ask your favorite restaurant to reach out to us to offer melody in your favorite restaurant. It can be a vegan restaurant or non-vegan. We're going to work with all the restaurants that reach out to us where people ask to see our product offered either on the menu, either within a meal, or just if you order a cup of tea and you want a side of melody.